powered by Riverside FM.
All right, welcome everybody to Choey and Jandler's The Fun Time to with Rick Happy Hour. It's a new month there, Choseph. So, welcome, sir.
September.
How's the day going?
It's good. If I actually felt the other day, like what was it, September 1st? I was like, dude, like the year's 2/3 of the way over, man.
Oh, you mean like the calendar year?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, not the school. School year's just
I was like,
starting, but
what?
school year's just starting. But like the calendar year, it's like, well, damn, like we're almost done with 2024.
I know
Kind of
it's
made kind of made me sad a little bit.
well, not too much because you're going to be enjoying your Cowboys here soon.
Uh, enjoys that's a tricky enjoy right there.
Enjoy is a loose word there, huh?
Very much.
I met some dude on Saturday. I call him the cool Cowboys fans. He's kind of like you, right? He's not like delusional about everything. You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, we're gonna win it all, or Dak Prescott's the best there is, or whatnot. But so
Dude, like since we started off, you started it. Like
yeah,
they signed CD, and it's like they're like, "Woo, we didn't sign him for the most money." I'm like, just shy of the most money.
we didn't
And then
overpay too much.
and then apparently like now like the big news is like CD's out there saying like, "Oh, let's go. You paid me, let's pay Dak." And it's like it started making me think like, what is the dynamic in that locker room? Like, what do you do? Like, so let's say like if you're one of the dudes, like you're CD, you're Dak, you're like, all right, I'm gonna get paid more in one weekend on a game check than most people make in their entire lifetime.
Right.
But what if you're like one of the scrubs? Like you're like one of like you're number 53 on the roster kind of thing, like number like those bottom 4 or 5 guys that like you're like, man, I just hope I'm on the roster next week. Like it's something for you to aspire to, and they're not realistic. And like how like I wonder if like there's something ever in those like guys' brains where they're like, hey man, like why don't you break off a chip of that and let some of us on the bottom part of the half of the roster get paid? It's like, cause you think like linemen. No, I can't like what for Dallas, for example, like the center is probably the least paid guy because everybody else seems like they're like, all pro
Awesome.
already or about to
Yeah.
be all pro. But so that dude's probably getting paid like now, granted, relatively terms, like less than $1 million a year. So he's still getting paid. But I mean, like you're blocking for some dude, and it's like almost want to be like, hey man, I could probably mess up my knee. I got to wear these big old knee braces for the rest of my life. And you're like over here, like, well, I don't deserve 45 million. I deserve 55 or more. It's
We
like,
could go down that. We could go down this rabbit hole forever, but yeah, it's I just told him, and he agreed, and you've agreed too. And the Cowboys pay Dak all that kind of money. It's really going to hurt some of the other people, but
I'm
football's right
telling you.
around. Football's there. I mean, I was watching college football this weekend, so it's that fall time. So
I
I
watched Notre Dame. I watched Notre Dame. That was
uh,
like Notre Dame's a little ranked a little higher than I probably would rank them given the game the way they played.
I was watching SAFC at home Saturday night, and we could have done better. Yeah, we really should have won, but oh well. All right, so let's jump to the holidays, sir.
Here are today's effing holidays.
All right, dude. They kind of adjusted the screen on me, right? Their website.
Yeah.
So so normally it's a little bit the view is a little bit better, like with these things, right? So I still gotta zoom in on the slideshow. I'm getting old. Gotta make sure I can read it all, right? All right. September 6th is Fight Procrastination Day. I think they made this up for me. September 6th is Fight Procrastination Day. It's an opportunity for you to face your procrastination issues head on. We have all been victims of that powerful urge to push an important task to a further date. Sometimes procrastination can be a result of the daunting nature of the task, or simply because you're not feeling up to it. And because I'm a procrastinator, I'm not going to read the rest of that. But it is what it is, right? Also, September 6th is Great Egg Toss Day. Did you know Great Egg Toss Day takes place on September 6th every year? The day celebrates the sport of egg tossing. And did you know that the egg toss game has a world championship? Yes, while most people find it difficult to believe, there's a sport called egg toss. Interesting, huh?
I wonder if we could be good in that.
Yeah. I bet those people are like really good, just like the speed walkers in the Olympics, man. It's not like anybody can do it, but it's also a National Chianti Day. I put this on here if we ever turn into like a more dignified program where we have a wine day, here and there or whatever. National Chianti Day takes place on the first Friday of September every year. It is held in honor of the beloved Chianti Classico wines that have become a traditional symbol of the Tuscany and Chianti Classico regions of Italy. And last but not least, for a holiday, this is whenever we do finish our book. It's National Read a Book Day. So hopefully next September 6th, Choey and
We'll have a
Jandler's
book
book will
to
be
read.
out,
We can have a
Yeah,
snippet.
yeah, exactly. We'll keep that in mind. But all right, so hold on, I gotta roll onto the weather real quick. When originally I was talking to you about the Cowboys, I was kind of riffing, taking time up because I was like, I forgot to do the weather on my slideshow. So it's 81. It's a cool, crisp 81 degrees outside. It only feels like 87.
Won't you? I can't wait for you to flip or wump your way through that one.
Oh, the one on the left.
Yeah.
I think we're just gonna have to say, and that's the PG version, man. Just so you know, the PG-13 version says you're going to sweat your friggin' butt off today, but the PG version says, "Holy heck, it's humid as heck. Fudge, I was asked for more profanity. Dildo, cockbag, clown twat, fudge."
I'm gonna wait a second. That's not even close to being PG.
Yeah. I guess it is if you're listening to Family Guy, right?
Maybe.
All right.
Perhaps you're true.
Quick roll over to our headlines, sir.
It's time for this week's edition of Choey and Jandler's headlines. Yay! Hooray!
Other than football being around the corner, college is starting, pro, the NFL right there. This is that time of year where I don't know about you, but I spend a lot of money on the classroom, man. I spend like so much money. I don't think people realize what teachers do with school supplies, all these dues that are due, like hospitality, PTA. And then I've talked to a first grade teacher and I agree with what she says, but I tend to buy snacks for my kids because if I don't buy snacks, a lot of them don't eat snacks. And then I feel bad.
Yeah.
And so it's like, but it adds up, man. Well, you got kids.
Yes. That is a lot.
They eat quickly, don't they?
Groceries suck. Groceries
Yeah.
suck.
Do you ever tell them, wait till you're my age and you have to pay for this?
It's kind of one of those things like I wish she would help out more around the house so she could help pay for this so I wouldn't feel as bad.
Pick up your weight. Come on, like earn your keep here, boys.
Pretty much. Oh, yeah.
Something. All right. So yeah, like that's every week is just something for me. And another thing I wrote here on our headlines, and I got more on my phone, but I was just laughing to myself. If people could read the text that you and I send to each other each day, they'd realize that you and I aren't PG. Like I'll send you a joke or something the kid said, and then you'll reply back, and I'm like, yeah, that's inappropriate. Or I'll do it to you.
That's why we always said like if this show makes it big where this is all we have to do, then we'll have like this episode, and then immediately we do like the roll into the Choey and Chandler After Dark, where it's like
Yeah.
like Nick at Night,
The adults, right?
Yeah, Adult Swim version. So
Hey, I'm sorry. Am I cutting you off, man?
I was gonna share a funny story, but roll on.
Oh no, go ahead. Share it.
No, so I'm doing the bilingual stuff, right? And we like part of that stuff, like right now, since we're small, I do the new like enrollees, like if they need to do like a language assessment test, and it's always been the same thing. Like I'm not testing kids that speak English, and we're trying to see how good they speak English or how well they speak English. I'm testing kids that don't. So
Right.
like if they have English in their vocabulary, it's very, very minimal. So it's like always been the same experience, and like you would think I'd written a script by now and like memorized it so that way I can communicate with these kids and at least express in Spanish what's going on with them. But I haven't, and so it's like one of those things. Like I'm going to be doing that this week is to make sure like I have something to read and kind of work off of, so that way I'm not. Because what happens is I go to get a kid, and let's walk in. Student A is student A here, And like the kid always kind of has the same reaction. Like they hear their name and they kind of like get big eyes. Like, who's this dude? Why is he here?
Like they're scared.
Yeah. And so the teacher always looks around like, oh yeah, student name's right there. Student A, go with so and so. And they kind of like slowly, with like big eyes, like walk, grab their backpack, real slow, like kind of walk with me. And so I'm always like, ¿cómo estás? And like, bien. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, but you think after that I would have like the script, like, hey, we're gonna go take these tests, right?
Yeah.
But I don't, and I've never, and I need to because of this mess up that I had this last week. So I do it. Normal routine, say it, blah blah blah. Kid comes with me. I'm walking, and I'm all, and in Spanish I'm like, tiene cuatro exámenes en inglés en la computadora, and the kid goes, well, I speak English all right, and I'm all, and I'm like, okay, sounds good. And I'm like, wait a second, why am I testing you if you already speak English like that? And she's like, well, there's some words I really don't know yet. And I'm like, what? And so somebody had messed up when they did the enrollment paperwork, and they just saw this kid was like an ESL kid.
Yeah.
Coming from Northside, and they're like, oh, you need to test them to make like see where they're at. And I'm like, I don't need to test this kid. I'm like, what the heck? Like I'm just like, and she's a nice little girl, 6th grade kid. So I was like later on in the day, I was like, hey, I got a question for you. Did you think I was a weirdo, like just trying to like limp through this Spanish stuff when you're just like, I know what you're saying, man. Like I got you. And she's like, no, and I'm like, well, thank you for being so nice, though. Good.
You're about to be because I was telling somebody a story. One of the times I got a tattoo, I went to HEB right next door, and there was this lady. I thought she knew, like she waved me down when I walked by her, and I thought she did it in the way that I thought she knew me. And in my head, I'm
Yeah.
trying to be like, "Who are you?" Like you're trying to like go through your Rolodex and you're like, "Do I know you? Do I know you?" And then whatever, she didn't speak English too well, and she's like, she wanted to know the price of I think like hot dogs, and she's pointing at the price, right? But it was like, so I couldn't speak Spanish. She couldn't speak English. And I was telling the person I was telling the story to, I was like, you ever, it's kind of funny. You talk to someone who speaks another language and you don't know it. We end up like playing charades, we end up like trying to like act it out. I think it's just hilarious. You're like, hey, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Let me do the motions. Maybe they'll get it,
They're all, what are you doing? You're all, oh, hey, she wants a hot dog from me?
Yeah.
What's going on here?
I think it would have been cool if that girl just kind of let you stumble through it and then like for like an hour and be like, yo, yeah, see.
I test her, and I'm like, she's amazing in English. What's going on with this?
No, that was a good headline there. We'll do a quick break, right? No,
it was one of those things where I was like, oh, I wanted to send you a text about it. I was like, I'm gonna save it for the show, so that way.
It's like your Harry Wong.
Yeah, so you could hear how stupid I was when I was like, I feel real dumb for having done that. My bad, kid.
When you were telling me the story about your script, I was thinking about drivers go to the airport to meet people. You didn't have like those big, you had like cue cards just in Spanish. Instead of you speaking it, it's just like 4 or 5 cards, and you just pull the card. Next.
Read this.
Yeah, read this.
I'm like, you don't read English or Spanish or well either. Dang. Okay.
All right, dude. Quick break, bro.
We say toast, convey, cheers, mate, and cheers, mate again, or simply cheers. Sometimes it's all tossing, other times it's cheers. Hey, you and hoser. We also say Sunday, salute, saluting, or tage, skull, rasha, we cheer, nicer of you. And now in Vietnam we can say, yo, that's how Choey and Jandler cheers around the world. Cheers, cheers around the world. Cheers, cheers around the world. Different languages, same sentiments, raising our glasses to friendship and joy. Cheers, cheers around the world. Cheers, cheers around the world.
Come on.
This is a headline here. So I was talking to you before we started. We want to do our Oktoberfest celebration, and we'll honor it with a couple of German beer tasting. The dude in Hook said they're in, just so you know. like I was shocked, you know. I clearly knew they'd do it, but it's good to hear. All right, I'm gonna do a little wine and cheese corner, and then we're gonna ask a principal segment. Okay.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right. So for this edition of Wine and Cheese Corner, this is where I tell people about things my students kind of whine about. This one's more about their excuses. The kids' excuses this year already, dude. It's just like within this first week, I think I told you one of them. Like a kid was on a website he wasn't supposed to be on. He was on YouTube, right? And he wasn't even supposed to be on the computer on Friday. And the kids think they can minimize it or close it out, and I won't know, and I'll just look back at their history. But I pointed at it, and he's like, oh, it just randomly pops up. And I was like, dude. And that's what I always tell the kids like this, with their boys especially. I'm like, dude. I was like, dude, YouTube doesn't just randomly pop up, man. I've been alive on this earth for a lot longer than you, and that website has never just popped in just because. I was like, clearly, you're doing something you shouldn't be doing. He's like, no, I swear. And I'm like, I don't know. I just shook my head, and I was like, let me have your computer, go do something else right now. It was about the end of the day I caught him, but I was just like, what? Then I have this other kid. I told you last year I have these second graders / 7-year-olds right now. They lose so many pencils, right? And there's one kid, and it's always the kids that are like kind of ADD, ADHD. You know, they obviously they struggle with their organization, and so they're not really paying attention, and they lose stuff so easily. So I'll give this one kid a pencil already, and then in the afternoon he remembers like, I don't know what happened to it. It just keeps missing, and I'm like, maybe you should pay attention to it. But one day, one of the days this week, and it might have been early Friday, we're all doing something. I forget what subject it was, but everyone's writing except him. And I go over there like, why aren't you working? And he's like, my pencil doesn't work for some reason. And he shows it to me, right? And it was broken in half. Like, you know, like somebody snapped it. And he's like, it just broke like that. And I'm like, what? It's like, no, it didn't. I was like, let me get you a brand new one. But I was just like, I swear these kids think we're idiots the older we get, you know? They think they can pull fast ones on us, you know? Kind of reminds you of our day, though, right? Some of the stuff we thought we were getting away with.
Well, it's just one of those things where like it makes you think like as you get older, like the stuff that you said and whether or not the adult believes you, because like when you're a kid, you're like, I got away with it.
Yeah.
And then like maybe they were like, I don't feel like calling you out on it. I feel like your parents are punished enough because their kid's a moron.
Like I always like that one story when we had a biology 2. I had that same teacher the year before in chemistry, and I had put my head down while I was taking the test. Like I was concentrating with my head down, and I just passed out, right? And I woke up with like 10 minutes to go, right? So I was out for like an hour, like 40 minutes or something. But I woke up and I was like, oh crap! I look at the clock. I was like, I gotta finish this test. So then I was just like randomly guessing. But you know when you fall asleep, you got like that red mark, you know, like you could tell you got sleep lines. And so I was the last one to turn it in, and you know, it clearly looked like I just woke up. And he's like, you must have really enjoyed this test. And I was like, yep. And then that weekend, me and my dad ran into him, and my dad was asking me, he's like, how's Jandler in class? And he's like, oh, he doesn't fall asleep or anything. He's good. And then in my head, I'm like, oh, he knows. It's like, I didn't get away with it. He knows. So.
We're all, wait a second. What do you mean I don't fall asleep in class? You didn't see that?
Yeah, you're like, exactly. What did I see? Something flash?
You know, I was in 3rd grade. And when like they released the kids that rode home on the car got like released like 5 minutes earlier out of class.
Oh yeah.
And like when I was in 3rd grade, like basically like my classroom was like you could not be further opposite corner of the whole campus to where the bus is loaded. And I rode home on the bus.
Same here. Been there.
So 8-year-old mind, I'm like, I want to be first I don't know why I want to be first in line to get on the bus, like stupid, right? But
y'all didn't have assigned seats? We had assigned seats.
We did. That's the thing. It's like I'm like, why am I trying to get first in line? But it was like the cool kid, like if you were first in line for the bus, sitting out in the flubber woman heat.
Yeah.
To wait to get on the bus, you were the cool kid. So I'm like, they get out 5 minutes early. I'll just lie and tell them,
Pickup.
yeah, I'm car pickup, and then I'll just go around and I'll get in line. And so it was like successful, like 3 or 4 days, like in a row. Because I'd go to the car thing, and I'd be like, I've got to go to the restroom, and I would go to the restroom inside the building, and then go the other way. Not thinking like anybody's seeing me. Like I'm sure plenty of teachers are like, hey, this third grade kid's wandering through this hall over here when they're not supposed to be. And so then like one day I'm out there sitting in the line first, and I'm like, yeah. And like my teacher walks up, and she's like, what are you doing? I thought you rode home a car, and I'm all, I did, but then they changed their mind, and she was like, I just remember thinking too, at 8 years old, I'm like, I'm gonna be in so much trouble. And my parents, they really didn't care. They were like, well, don't be lying in school. But I was just like, gosh, she got me. I'm gonna be in so much trouble. And I was like, whatever, man. Like, what's the punishment? I gotta go to the back of the line to get on the bus. Oh, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I'm sure like I'm sure the teacher probably knew right away, because she's like, you ride home on the bus, and I was like, no, they switched me to car. I'm sure she was like, whatever, liar.
No, but it's just like it's hard to explain. It's just the style when kids talk. It's so easy to tell their line. You know what I mean? It's just like you said, because they're like doing this, they're like looking away. Like the poker tails are all out there. You know, it's so easy to see. You're like, yeah. And I don't want to call them a liar, because I don't want them to go home and say, well, so-and-so called me a liar. Because, then parents get sensitive about that. So I'm just like, yeah, it doesn't sound... I just tell them, hey, that doesn't sound true. Or, like, that doesn't sound believable. I was like, are you sure you're telling me that? I just have a hard time accepting that. But... Anyway...
Wouldn't it be nice if you just fired off and be like, yeah, I'm calling your kid a liar. This is the story they told. Like, who doesn't think that's a lie?
I would love to be honest sometimes with parents, but I don't know if they can handle it, You can't handle the truth.
Some
type stuff. But, yeah. All right, so, Choey, we're going to do an Ask a Principal segment, okay? You're probably looking at the slide right now, right? We're on slide 41, by the way. So what's the deal? This is my Seinfeld, right? So what's the deal with TIA? Can you explain it to everybody like I'm 5 years old?
What's the deal? What's the deal? Tia's okay. Like, I like it. I like the idea behind it. I don't like the fact that, like... So basically, like, in a nutshell, if teachers hit certain marks on their evaluations, they get certain, but like a big chunk of that rolls into it is performance growth and stuff like that, based on like what the kids are.
Yeah.
And then you can you qualify for a certain amount of like bonus money coming from the state like every year, which is good, because I think teachers deserve to get paid more. But the only thing that's inherently an issue with that is the fact that you got to go. Hold on, Mrs. Tribbiani sticking her phone underneath the door.
I thought you were thinking of a certain word to say.
No, I saw like a phone coming underneath the door. I was like, what is this? But the only issue is then, like, you get people that are like freaking out about it, and they get their feelings hurt whenever they don't hit it. And it's like, well, no, you're kind of a bad teacher, man. That's what it essentially boils down to.
Well, what I will say is, what I don't like about it is the evaluation part. Not the growth part, right? Because even though like some kids are gonna grow better than others, but I don't like the evaluation part, because it's one of those good things we don't talk about our school. But like my principal, her evaluation is way different than my AP, right? And it's kind of like, if she doesn't like you, you're not getting a good evaluation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that hurts your money, and that's why I'm like, this is messed up,
But that's where like some part of the process, like I said, inherently flawed, is like, you get your T-test certification as the whole part. Like, basically, you're supposed to get T-test trained as a teacher, so you understand how they're rating you.
Yeah.
You get T-test trained as an evaluator to make sure that like you're on point with what it is that they're supposed to say. And like the thing is though, like all you have to do is guess right on the test, kind of thing, and then you're certified to do it for after a couple of years in a row of getting it. Then they get you bonus years where it's like 3 years until you get to retest. But it's kind of like driving. Like, everybody got like 10 and 2, or now it's 9 and 3. Back when we were kids, it's 10 and 2 on the wheel, your hand over hand as you're turning.
Yeah.
Your mirror, blinker, head check, like you're doing everything right. You reverse like this, like looking backwards and checking where you're supposed to
Oh, they
go.
won't let you even look at the camera now in the new cars when you're doing your driver's license.
No, the
I still
oldest
don't
one
do
went.
that. I barely do that. Because I'm so used to looking over my shoulder, you know.
Well, I use it, but I also like I'm like, well, the camera don't get everything, so I want to make sure.
Yeah.
But the oldest one went and did his test, and they were like, yeah, you can't use the camera.
Oh, okay.
But the thing is, like, everybody like is like trying to be perfect on that test, and as soon as you get out, then you're like one handed and like with chilling like that.
Yeah.
Driving. It's the same thing with like appraisals. Like there's some like you said, certain principals that are like, oh, I've been doing this for years. It's like, well, good. Like,
Yeah.
are your teachers really that bad? Are they really that good? I worked for a principal, or I worked for a principal, and I worked for two principals actually. They were handing out distinguished like they were candy, and I'm like,
Is that the
that,
top one? Right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And like when you go through that training, they say like the like 3% of the teachers across the state should be hitting anywhere in that rating, just 3%. And I've seen way more than 3% of teachers that I've worked with, certain principals, and they're rating them up there. And I'm like, I had one that like hit some distinguished and some accomplished for this one teacher, and they had a 25% passing rate. 25%. I'm like, how are you going to say that teacher is that great, and a quarter of the kids are passing?
Well, I know, like we just did our math map last week, and we got the reading one coming this week, and I was looking at the scores. Like they're comparing this fall to last fall, right? And obviously, I know that's a year's. I mean, that's way different, you know. But obviously, the summer thing is always like it hits. You know, the summer there's that summer effect. You can tell with kids, like a lot of kids just kind of they dip, right?
Yeah.
I guess the good news is I had some kids that did really really low on the math now in the beginning of the year, so they got room for growth. Got like tons of room for growth, but it's like. I was looking like somebody like one of the girls was like in the 57th percentile last year at this time, and she's like in the 6th, and I'm like, what the? I was like, I get a little bit, but like, I don't think you tried at all. But she, I'm already worried about her.
Did you go to school last year?
I'm already worried about her. She's already missed like half the year. Like she'll be there one day, then she won't be there the next day. And unfortunately, there was like a death in the family, so it's like it's hard for me to like address it, because I'm like, hey. Where's so and so at? But because I could understand, she's dealing with some stuff, but
it's like the unsensitive thing to say.
I need you to be here like more than one day in a row,
It's like an unsensitive thing to say, but you should be like, so how many people have died in your family that
it's funny.
Out?
It's funny you say that because the teacher that had her last year is my second grade team leader now, and she said that some family member died last year too.
You remember? We'll call him Jose.
Yeah.
Remember, and every year for week for practice, like a grandparent was in the hospital or died. You're like, how many grandparents do you have, man?
Sorry, that's not funny to laugh at stuff like that, but if you knew who we're talking about,
it's only funny because it wasn't true.
Yeah.
None of it.
Not like when he had that charity basketball game called off because they just didn't feel like doing it or whatever.
Yeah. and then his sister that looked like Nikki Taylor.
Yeah.
Had the car. Then she died. Or what? Didn't his sister died or somebody died? Somebody died. Like, I don't know. He didn't even have a sister in real life either.
Yeah. Sorry, we're laughing at some cold stuff right there, but they're all true. They're all not true, like Choey said. So
yeah, that's not a funny thing. But when somebody's saying that somebody died and they didn't exist, it's kind of funny.
Yeah, when someone's just making up an excuse, it's totally different. Before that, you kind of just brought my trigger. I got a friend of my teacher friend. She used to work with me. She's at another school now. And every time I try and invite her out, hey, we're doing this happy hour, whatever, she always has like a different reason. Now, I know she's married, she got a kid, but every time she sends me something, I'll like look on Amazon and I'll be like the book of excuses, and I'll just send her like the link and like, here, maybe you need this or something, because like you keep running out of stuff to say you can't come hang out,
Yeah, you can just say you don't want to. It's okay. It's not gonna hurt your feelings.
Joe, you want to do the social media plug, sir?
Yes, yes. All right. So you can follow us on social media at it's at Choey and Jan, the at symbol CHOEY, the letter NJAN. We're on Facebook, X, Threads, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and don't forget to hit up Jandler on the Bunker Report as well.
Oh yeah. It's a sad season on the Bunker Report. There's not a lot of positives to talk about, but we're still here.
Positives
It's
and
only
negatives,
getting
man.
cooler, right? The weather's gonna start cooling off at some point.
I know, I'm excited. Like I was like, well, hey, it doesn't look like it's gonna hit 90 for a couple days this week, so that's good.
Yeah, it's like you can go out and not be blinded by the sun.
Yup.
All right, man. We're gonna go ahead and pull the plug here, sir.
Pull it.